Hi everybody, it's Birdie. Welcome back to my channel at Positive Bluebird. If you've never been here before, check out all of my videos or most of them. If you're interested, hit that subscribe button and like. So today is what I call a Chirpie Chattie, and I have a couple of them, which means that I am going to tell you a story. And I have my coffee, so don't mind me. Have you ever woken up in the morning and you've nuked your coffee in the microwave at least a dozen times, but you keep forgetting to drink it? Yeah, that's me. So I'm going to take a sip real quick. I think I just did the sippy sippy. If you don't know what that is, you guys need to look up Graveyard Girl on YouTube. She's hilarious. Okay, she's funny. I just think if you go way back into her videos from, I guess, years ago, she was a lot younger, and she was very calm like me. So you never know. I might get a little bit crazy at some point like her. But crazy is fun. And Bunny is hilarious. Most of my subscribers know who Bunny is at Graveyard Girl. Look it up. That woman, I think she's in her 30s. She has over 7 million subscribers. Okay, over 7 million. Wow. I have 69 subscribers. I hope I get some more here soon. But anyway, okay, on to the Chirpie Chattie. And yes, I'm in the bathroom because this is my lovely backdrop. Because most of you who are new to my channel don't know that my son and I went homeless a couple of months ago. So we are in a hotel paying part of the rent with a church, and we're hoping to get into housing soon. Which, by the way, Monday, I am going to go check out a tax credit apartment and pray and fingers crossed that we get it. It sounds like we qualify because I talked to the lady yesterday. But anyway, okay. So my Chirpie Chattie story today is in reference to my video that I put up yesterday, or last night, I should say. And it was If I Close My Eyes Forever from Lita Ford and Ozzy Osbourne. And I don't want anybody to think anything bad from it, or that I was referencing it to my life situations or my soon-to-be second ex-husband or the first ex-husband or crappy people that have been mean to me in my life or my childhood. If you think about it, it is ironic, now that I think about it, that video that I did matches perfectly of my feelings, but it was unintentional at the moment last night. It was never playing in my head. So I didn't mean to offend anybody, or if I made anybody upset that it looked really dark and grim. But that's part of my Chirpie Chattie. My story is that I was born in 1973, and for my generation, I grew up with a lot of music. I grew up with 3 brothers. My grandmother lived with us, my mom and my dad, and then we had a couple of dogs and rabbits and all that. But music was a part of my childhood daily. We hardly ever watched television except for maybe after school, maybe a little bit in the mornings before breakfast or during breakfast on the weekends. But most of our time was spent on our bikes, roaming the neighborhood at our friends' homes or the nearby parking lot at the school, and certain parks and all of that. And then we came home when the lights came on outside. But so I had a really rough childhood in regards to my father, and I choose not to go into detail or to talk about it, but it was pretty rough. It was stuff that no father should ever do to their daughter or any child for that matter, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. He was a police officer for more than 25 years through several counties. And I used to tell my friends that he was the monster in the house, but he was a hero in uniform. And I still think that today. But I'm also coping really well in therapy where I'm looking more at the positives that were surrounding my childhood with him. And that's a good thing. That just means that I have coped pretty well. And I'd hardly ever think about the negative and the bad and the trauma. And I want you to know therapy can help. So so I've been able to let go of a lot of that. So but he did die. He died 23 years ago, almost 24 this October. And it was in the line of duty. He was having a massive heart attack, and his boss uh, at the time could not save his life because we didn't have defibrillators in the early 90s, and people didn't know that you should pop an aspirin to save a heart attack or whatever. But so he passed away, but the legend lives on with music surrounding me to drown out the past. And we used to have an 8-track machine, and I loved that 8-track. So I feel like my mom used that as a babysitting tool for all 4 of us kids, which is fine, it's healthy. And she plopped us down in front of it, and it had this front cover that had all these different colored lights behind it. And when it flashed, it went to the beat of the music that was playing on the 8-track or the record. And it was kind of like a strobe light. It was very mesmerizing. And there is a particular song and artist that was always playing. I think my mom had the 8-track, and it was from Christopher Cross. And the song is called Sailing. And if you YouTube it, you can play it and close your eyes like I did and just dream that you're out in the middle of a beautiful ocean, like the movie On Golden Pond with Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda, father-daughter duo. And, just find music that takes you to the happiest part of your life. And that song from Ozzy Osbourne and Lita Ford, If I Close My Eyes Forever, I don't want anybody to think that I'm thinking death, because I'm not. I think, to me, it means, if I close my eyes forever, I'm never going to wake up to reality. I'm never going to wake up to start my life over again in a healthy way. I'm never going to open my eyes to a beautiful world that's still awaiting my son and I. And I like that song because to me it has a lot of meaning behind it. It's not necessarily what people think is somebody wanting to die or they're ending their relationship or whatever it may be. Lita Ford and Ozzy have their own take on what that song means. And if you want to know, they actually wrote that song. It was Ozzy's idea. And Sharon Osbourne was Lita Ford's music manager for the longest time. And I think she still is. I don't remember. But Ozzy had invited Lita to stay the night in the hotel that they were at, I believe. And I might be a little bit wrong on some of this. But they were drinking. They were probably doing a little bit of, that back in the day. But they wrote that song. It just took them several hours. And Sharon was very mad at Ozzy the next day because, she's like, where the hell were you? And nothing happened between Lita and Ozzy. He's several years older than her, but I don't want to think about that. But they wrote that song together, and the filming of it was in an old train station that was abandoned. And so that's why I did the shadow behind me with the lighting, and I chose a darker filter. And I just kind of wanted my eyes to pop out a little bit, that, just for dramatic effects. I was in a band back in the day in high school as well. And that was the most significant, awesome part of my teenage life. I was going through a lot of problems, emotions of losing my grandmother to a stroke and Alzheimer's 2 years prior to me starting high school. Things that were happening to me on a regular basis with my father. My three brothers and I kind of at each other's throats, what siblings weren't back then. And my mom kind of verbally saying things that she probably shouldn't say to her daughter. And I was very close to my grandma. So I just felt like I was lost in the world after she died. And the counselors at my high school reached out to a music program. I was already in the choir, but they reached out to a music program through the AVS credits that you can earn towards your graduation, your senior year. So my junior year, I attended an area vocational school at a college nearby, and I had another choir teacher who gave me an assignment, and it helped keep me focused. And so I had to create a band. I had to do, I had to pick like a song that could be recorded. I had to also pick another artist that meant a lot to me, that I can be trained to sing like, and then do a performance on the lawn at that college. It was like a public talent show through the whole neighborhood. We're talking anybody and everybody. It was a free show, a concert. And so it was like a challenge for me from that teacher. And when people give me challenges, I don't ever give up. I do it. I mean, people can look at me and say, wow, she's got 13 different health conditions and kidney diseases and heart conditions or whatever else is going on with her heart and osteoarthritis. She's too young. Nah, she's just overthinking it. It's all in her head. Well, I got a lot going on, but I also have a lot going on in my heart to keep going and not give up, because I have my son at the top of my priority list. I have to do this for him. I can't just lay down in bed and just feel all upset and be depressed or whatever. I have to keep going. Life goes on. So I did all the tasks that I was supposed to do. I created a band. I was 16 years old. I met 5 guys. One of them was introduced to me from a guy that I worked with at the grocery store. I was bagging groceries back then. And we would meet at his place where his parents built him a basement recording studio. They were millionaires. They don't live out in Colorado anymore that I'm aware of. But this was a huge recording studio. And, you've all seen it on YouTube. You can Google it. And it was state of the art for that time in the 80s. And I was in awe. I was really nervous, though, to sing in front of the guys, because the song that I chose for my assignment was from Berlin, Take My Breath Away. So the guys built a shower curtain that was circular, and they hung it from the ceiling. So then I would just open it, and I had my filter mic, and I would practice in that shower curtain because I didn't like the guys looking at me. Because when you go through something and you have men trust issues, it's still difficult. So I didn't want them looking at me and thinking thoughts or whatever. I just, so they did that for me. And I recorded it. It took 7 months because you have to record 2 octaves of your voice. You have to do the solo and then the soprano. And it's the soprano piece, I think, was the backup piece that was being dubbed. And then during playback, I would have to sing live and onto another recording disc. So then they were both dubbed together. So when you played it, it sounded like, two people singing. I have the original tape because they dubbed it onto a cassette tape. At least I think I do. I don't know. Could be in storage, could be lost, could have been left behind. I don't know. But I'd love to play it, but I don't have it. And I don't have the original recording because it was turned into the school. And maybe the guys have a copy of it. But unfortunately, they were 9 years older than me. So they were already graduating from college. They got promoted to do concert tours around the world for big named bands, and I'm so proud of them. Unfortunately, we've lost touch because back then there was no such thing as social media. We didn't have the World Wide Web until I think maybe during my graduation time of 1992. And so I lost touch with them, and I only know maybe 2 band members' names out of the 5. And so I tried Googling it or looking on YouTube and Facebook, but there's like 1,000 under that name. So I'm not going to try to guess, oh, that might be him. But so I just let it go. It's okay. So what got me tons of credits towards graduation, my senior year, and what that means, credits, is that you're lessening your courses, and it's just giving you more grades or what do you call it? A higher advantage with your grade. And so senior year, I was down to 3 hours a day for classes. I didn't have to attend the entire day like everybody else. And so what got me that credit score was me finalizing my other song, which was Lita Ford. And it was, ironically, that song that I chose to do last night, If I Close My Eyes Forever. And I had one of the band members at that time sing the part of Ozzy Osbourne. And I couldn't believe I was actually able to perform for that skit in front of a crowd of over 1,000, 10,000 people on the lawn of my college, my future college, because I only went there for just music, no major degree, because I started developing asthma and maybe other chronic conditions that I wasn't really familiar with or aware of at that time, but I wasn't feeling good. So, and plus a lot of personal things in my life. So, yeah, I was able to do it, and there was a band there performing for free. And you guys have probably heard of them. Just go on YouTube. They're called Dotzero, Dotzero. And the front man who plays the saxophone, his name is Steve, but I can never remember his last name. He actually went to our home when I was a teenager, and he was teaching my brother Matt, I'll say his name, and teaching him how to play saxophone. And I've got pictures, maybe in an album in storage, but yeah, he had a huge mustache back in the day, and he probably still has a mustache. But look up Dotzero. And so that was fun for my brother to meet him and actually be trained and have lessons with him. So, and then I had voice lessons, obviously, in college to sing like Lita Ford. I mean, that was grueling, let me tell you. That took months, and I finally finished in the summer after my junior year, and then those credits were applied to my senior year. That's why I wasn't there as often during the day like everybody else. So let me tell you, it was phenomenal. I couldn't believe the crowd was cheering and screaming, and I thought I was going to pass out, and I did it. And, I wish I could have applied those credits to today. I wish I didn't have all these health conditions, but it is what it is. God has a reason for everything. I don't believe that God gives people health conditions. I think it's just what happens, because God's not perfect. We're all not perfect, So I hope that this video inspires you all to find your passion in life. Find something that is going to pull you out of the darkness, that's going to keep you going forward. If it means that you enjoy doing arts and crafts to help you focus, great, do that. If you love traveling, do that. Find what your passion is in life. I have so many passions that sometimes I don't even know how to start my day. That's a good thing. So I love you guys. I hope that you subscribe to my channel. I know that this was a long chat, but that's okay. That's why it's called Chirpie Chattie for the bluebird here. Yeah, so I will have more stories down the road, and I'm going to try to go and crochet something and relax and hang out with my son. And I love you guys, and I will talk to you all later. Peace out. Stay positive, everyone.